Hey, you guys, come in and sit down for this one. New updates in the David case, and it is getting more and more tragic. Not because we found out more about Celeste, but because the police are moving really, really weird. Now, let me just say a few things before we get into it. Okay, if you guys don't know, Celeste, 13, gone. Boyfriend, 20, found in a car parked 100 feet away from his house. Fake IDs that he probably secured. All this stuff point to this. I've said it a million times. I've never seen more evidence for an arrest outside of in a detective movie. However, it seems like right now that the police are actually running defense for David. Let's get into this because, again, what is the evidence we have, okay? The police are now pointing out that police are saying that Celeste Rivas possessed multiple, Rivas, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, possessed multiple fake IDs identifying her as an adult, which enabled her and David to freely appear in public as a couple without raising suspicions. So you mean to tell me that every time Celeste showed up with David, she was at TGI Fridays? Was she trying to get into the 21 and over crowd? I mean, even when musicians come to perform, nobody checks the musicians that are performing in their entourage. I'm confused. In what life did they need to ID to move freely? I know it is 2025 and we are in a very different era of America, but as far as I just saw and noticed, they just started saying, the Supreme Court just said you could ask people for their ID. I'm very, very curious as to how that is. But let me just say this, right? Even this post, why does it sound like to me that the police are acting like the defense lawyers for David? Now they're trying to get him off on statutory rape charges? Because that's what this is. Because they're trying to say because she had a fake ID, then no one knew that she was a little itty bitty child. No one knew. His friends ain't know. Guess what? David didn't even know. You didn't know? You didn't know you were dating someone you never met their mother? She got picked up by the police in the Hollywood Hills and returned before she promptly ran away again. I get it. Something weird in her home. I get it. She must not have a tight relationship with her family. I get it. There must have been some dark things going on at home. Yeah, you guys, that's usually what happens whenever somebody is preyed on. The preyed on people never go to the homes that aren't dysfunctional or where someone doesn't have self-esteem or a mother wound or a father wound. Grow up. Everybody is damaged. And as much as you think you are above it, everybody can get got. Honestly. The whole point of the matter is it is not surprising that there were issues in Celeste's family. But again, why is the police putting so much of the family's business out there, but no business for David? Again, you're trying to say that it couldn't have been stat rape because David didn't know? And the fact that the family reported her missing for so many times and the police did nothing? Well, that's because she had a fake ID, don't you know? But I thought it was the police officer's job to actually find out if the ID is real or not. But even then, okay, instead of the police, the LAPD, to me, this is my opinion, instead of realizing that David guy is probably the one that set her up with a fake ID connect. Can we think about it? I don't understand why we are now acting like an 11, 12, 13-year-old, because that's when she went missing, was a criminal mastermind that could figure out in a town she didn't live in, with no income, no job, and no friends in the Hollywood Hills, figure out a way to get not just 1, 2, 3, or 4, but several fake IDs? Now, the funny thing is, Celeste never went overseas with David, did he? Why did she? Why? Because how are you going to get a fake passport? Again, it's just another little interesting thing to consider. When Celeste went missing right before, well, we don't know when she went missing, but she was discovered when he went overseas for his first tour. Anyway, one family member, her brother, is actually speaking out, okay? He says that David first contacted Celeste when she was 11 or 12, and the family says he picked her up in the same Tesla she was found in. Again, listen to this. They said that her brother says David would pick her up in the same Tesla where she was found, chopped up, decomposed, and wrapped in plastic on September 8th. Now, they raided the rental. They didn't find any blood in the rental. They did find a computer that they took, even though it's not clear if he found evidence. I believe that if there was no blood in the rental, well, what does that let me know? I mean, if we put on our detective hats, it lets us know that if there was no blood found in the rental, then she was probably chopped off site. I think she might have been kept in a refrigerator or on ice. In a refrigerator or on ice, in a freezer. And I think that they brought that car back, parked it in the garage, then for whatever reason, put it on the street. And I believe somebody was supposed to pick up that car. And I think that but I think when they were supposed to pick up the car, they were looking out to see if the police were, because if you just kill someone, you're very, very nervous. So you're looking around, you let it sit a day or two, you get paranoid. Wait, was that a police? A neighbor walks a dog. Is this a setup? Maybe they're coming to get me. So you decided to leave it on the street for a few days to make sure the coast was clear. And I think that it got towed before somebody got the guts to pick up the car and drive it and dispose of Celeste, okay? Now, legal experts have said that David could face charges from statutory rape and trafficking to kidnapping and murking. Yet LAPD says the case is ongoing. They said no arrests have been made. They said David's not a suspect. And they said, and I kid you not, they said they don't even know if a crime was actually committed. So Celeste got up, climbed into a trunk, wrapped herself in plastic. Chopped herself up, wrapped herself in plastic, then locked herself in her boyfriend's trunk. Okay. Right. You got it, okay? Now, again, for those of people saying, well, maybe the police are needing more evidence, for God's sakes, the newspapers are literally uncovering more, because the neighbors have claimed that David and Celeste lived together in the house as a couple. Police searched it and collected things. Here's what I want to know. If all the neighbors are saying that they lived in the house as a couple, then where's Celeste's clothes? Because if Celeste didn't have any clothes over there, and maybe this woman was 11 or 12 when her and David started talking, the brother saw David's Tesla, pick her up, 13, 14, she would have been 15 this year. Nobody knows how long she's been passed away, because there's some birthdays, but if she is 15, she just turned 15. And judging by the timeline, she never made it to the 15th birthday. But that's not even it. Let's think about it. You raided the house. All the neighbors are saying that was his girl. We saw her all the time. They lived together. They lived together as a couple. The whole neighborhood knew. But yet the police didn't find one thing that belonged to Celeste in the house. Not clothes, not shoes, not makeup, not DNA sample, nothing. Not a random hair. No mousse, no gel. Celeste loved her curly curls. No mousse, no gel, nothing. No lashes on the sink. No eyeshadow on curling iron or diffuser by the sink. I think it's actually more suspicious if they did not find any of her artifacts, because where was Miss Celeste staying? When even the neighbors were saying they literally lived there. Get this. The person said, well, the neighbors said they were pretty quiet. I never saw police there, and I didn't hear them partying or anything. Nothing wild. I was shocked to find out what happened. I didn't know he was a singer, but I knew he had a Tesla, as it was always parked outside. He was with the girl regularly, actually all the time. I recognized Celeste from the photographs. I last saw them a couple of months ago. I'm not sure, but I thought they were just kids, like a couple aged 18 or 19. I had no idea this is crazy. Again, how is he not a suspect or in custody when all the evidence points to him? And even if he didn't murk her, okay, he should still be in serious trouble for aiding and abetting a runaway, harboring a runaway, living with somebody underage without their parents' consent. And also, if she was living in that house, she was not going to school. It is illegal for children not to go to school in America and for you to create a situation where they don't go to school. It's called truancy enabling. Listen, I want to know what, right? Even to the fact of we don't know if a crime has been committed. They said that she was dismembered. Okay? And they said they didn't find all the parts. But then they said they found leggings. So how did you get the leggings but not all the parts? What? Listen. Again, another interesting thing that Aisha on Twitter brings up. What was going on? Why did they just find head and torso? Other people say that it was just the whole thing. But then they said there were leggings. But if there were leggings, then there would have to be legs, right? Again, at this point, I believe everybody involved got to get locked up. Because how was somebody letting a 15-year-old play house with an adult? And keep in mind, she was 13 when he moved her into the rental house. February 2024 lease began. He was 19, which was even worse. She was also murked when she was about 14, but found one day after her 15th birthday. Something is off. Something is very, very off with this. And I don't know how else to say it, but it is actually disgusting that the police are releasing all this information. Thank God at least somebody for her family is coming out and speaking. Thank God. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to be bringing more updates. There's a detective, Private Eye, that did a little research and a few other information. But yeah, you guys, keep Celeste's family in her heart. And I hope the police come to their senses and name David or whoever is responsible as a suspect. Because let me tell you something. If it's not him, that Tesla was never reported stolen. He knows who has access to his car. So if it's not him, then you're protecting that person. You're protecting that person. And if you're protecting that person, I would guess if you are protecting that person, that, you have something, you're protecting yourself in a roundabout. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.